It began like any ordinary Wednesday morning at Crestwood High School. The hallways buzzed with chatter as students shuffled to lockers, teachers called roll, and the aroma of cafeteria coffee drifted through the air. Unbeknownst to most, an online shift had already set events in motion. Earlier that day, a sophomore named Emily Harper posted a satirical meme on the student run social media page. In the meme, Principal Robert Hale's face was superimposed onto a scene from a 1980s action film, complete with exaggerated angry eyebrows and a speech bubble that read, "Who took my free donut day?" The tone was clearly humorous, a shared joke among weary teenagers mocking late announcements and canceled special events. At 10:15 a.m., the meme caught the principal's attention. Witness accounts suggest that Mr. Hale glared at his phone screen while standing near the front office window. Within moments, he stormed down the hallway toward Emily's homeroom. Students later described seeing his face flush with anger, a low growl escaping him. By the time Emily realized what was happening, Principal Hale was standing in the doorway. He snatched her smartphone from her hand, yanked her out of her seat, and dragged her by the hair into the hallway. A hand reaches back to try and capture the desperation of those first few seconds. Emily's hair was tangled in his grip as they emerged into the corridor, already crowded with curious classmates. At that moment, no one knew how far this would go. For Emily, the meme was intended as harmless satire, yet for Principal Hale, it was a direct challenge to his authority. Chapter 2. Dragged into the hallway. Emily's screams echoed through the hallway as Mr. Grigorath Hale dragged her down the linoleum floor. Some students rushed forward, but teachers in other classrooms sealed their doors, unsure how to intervene without endangering themselves. One brave freshman, Jacob Kim, pressed record on his phone. He wanted to document what he assumed would be a verbal confrontation or a detention-level scolding. Instead, cameras captured a scene far more disturbing. Haunting images show Mr. Hale yanking Emily's hair until she fell to her knees. Students in the adjacent classroom peered through windows, faces pale as they realized things had escalated dangerously. At approximately 10:18 a.m., Principal Hale ordered Emily to kneel in the center of the hallway. His face twisted with rage. He bawled out, "How dare you disgrace my name in front of these students? You will learn a lesson right now." Emily raised her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks, bewildered by the intensity of his reaction. A handful of backup security staff hurried into view but did not intervene, their stunned expressions suggesting confusion about whether they should stop him. Jacob's video picks up Emily's whispered pleas. She begged, "Please, Mr. Hale, I'm sorry, it was just a joke." He responded by pointing toward a janitor's cart loaded with cleaning supplies in the far end of the hall. The hallway fell silent, except for Emily's muffled sobs and the clicking of Jacob's camera. As the remaining students watched from doorways and windows, Mr. Hale led Emily to the cart. Slowly, deliberately, he pulled out a pair of electric clippers lying among dusty bottles of bleach. The corridor erupted into shouts as he approached Emily with the clippers raised. Chapter 3. The Brutal Shaving. Jacob's phone wavered as he filmed the worst moment. At 10:19 a.m., Principal Hale lowered the clippers onto Emily's hair without warning. The buzzing blades cut through her dark brown locks in a single motion. Emily cried out, clutching at her scalp as locks of hair fell onto the linoleum floor. The students who had been watching reached for their own phones, some shockingly cheering while others gasped and dared not look away. Emily's scalp reddened, and blood began to seep where the clippers grazed her skin. Principal Hale's eyes drilled into her as he continued shaving, hair disappearing in disjointed patches. By 10:21 a.m., she was nearly bald, kneeling in a growing pool of her own hair and blood. The camera captured every agonizing second as Principal Hale screamed, "You disgraced my name. No one humiliates me and gets away with it." His voice cracked between rage and hysteria. Teachers began to emerge from nearby classrooms, alarmed. One teacher rushed to shield Emily's head with her own sweater, but Mr. Hale shoved her aside as though she was a mere obstacle. Other faculty members hesitated, some frozen in disbelief, others searching for an administrator who might order Mr. Hale to stop. Eventually, two school security officers intervened. They pulled the clippers from Mr. Hale's hand and helped Emily to her feet. Blood dripped down her face, mixing with tears, as she stumbled toward the nurse's office. Principal Hale finally put down the clippers and strode back to his office, his chest heaving with adrenaline. Students watched in stunned silence, wiping tears and staring at the patchy remnants of Emily's once long hair. Chapter 4. Caught on Camera. Within minutes, Emily's makeshift self-defense tears were visible from classrooms across the school. Jacob uploaded the video to a private group chat, unaware that another student, Alicia Torres, had intercepted it, grabbed her own phone, and started live streaming it on multiple platforms. By lunchtime, the footage had gone viral. Teachers gathered in the lounge, trading stunned whispers. Parents began calling the school, enraged and demanding answers. District officials huddled, making emergency calls to the superintendent's office. Meanwhile, the student body assembled for a scheduled pep rally never took place. Instead, word spread. The principal just shaved a student's head. Come see for yourself. In the cafeteria around 12:30 p.m., local news crews arrived. Reporters spilled out of vans, mic stands planted on desks, cameras rolling as they yelled questions and snapped photos. One reporter asked, "Is it true that the principal forced a student to get her head shaved?" Another lobbed, "What about claims he's done this before?" Students recoiled from the glare of floodlights and microphones, but witnesses recounted exactly what happened: the clippers, Emily's screams, the blood. That afternoon, Crestwood High's hallways were eerily silent. Classrooms sat half empty as rumors swirled about possible suspensions and arrests. Behind the scenes, District Attorney Leslie Chen assigned 2 investigators to review the video. Within hours, school security footage corroborated Jacob's recording. A clear timeline emerged. Mr. Hale entered the hallway at 10:15, seized Emily's phone at 10:17, began shaving at 10:19, and stopped at 10:21. His actions violated every policy the district had in place. But the video offered something far deeper. It hinted at a pattern. Chapter 5, Viral Uproar and Online Fury. By dusk, social media was ablaze. Hashtags like Justice for Emily and #Stop School Bullying flooded Twitter feeds. The original video clip had been shared thousands of times, with alarming replays of the clippers descending on Emily's head. Reaction videos spliced footage side by side with commentary from influencers. One YouTuber with 2 million subscribers uploaded a tearful reaction, condemning Mr. Hale as a monster. TikTok users created duets. Some mimicked the tragic scene, while others shouted, "Protect our kids." Students from neighboring districts began sharing the video as a cautionary tale of unchecked authority. Local and national news outlets covered the story. On television, anchors described the events as indescribable cruelty and beyond gender or age norms. Print media carried the image of Emily's bald and bloodied head, standing alone in the hallway, photoshoot style. An editorial in the city's major daily newspaper proclaimed, "When those entrusted to protect instead destroy, we all lose." Attorney General's office released a statement promising an investigation into the principal's conduct under the new Safe Learning Environments Act. Meanwhile, online petitions demanding Mr. Hale's immediate dismissal amassed over 200,000 signatures within 24 hours. At home that night, Emily lay in a cold bed, scalp stinging, tears drying on her cheeks. Through her bedroom window, she watched birds roost in treetops. She wondered how a single satirical meme could ignite a firestorm that burned down not just her dignity, but a decades-long career of a once respected school leader. As she drifted into sleeplessness, thousands of texts and DMs pinged on her silent phone. Classmates offering rides, strangers offering donations, activists offering legal help. Emily understood that while her hair was gone, her voice had found wings. Chapter 6. Uncovering a History of Abuse. The morning after the incident, District Attorney Chen's investigators combed through archived disciplinary records. They discovered that Principal Robert Hale had a file dating back 15 years at 3 different schools. In each case, there were complaints of physical altercations, shoving, and intimidation. One anonymous letter from 2012 alleged that Mr. Hale had grabbed a freshman by the arm so forcefully that the student sustained bruising. In 2015, a parent reported that he forced a middle schooler to kneel outside his office for an hour. Yet these complaints had never led to formal charges. Internal school reviews resulted in minor reprimands or counseling sessions. News outlets began to connect the dots. A veteran social worker who had once interviewed with Mr. Hale recounted that he exhibited a volatile temper and a belief that discipline meant fear. Former colleagues described closed door meetings where teachers were told to keep quiet about irregular disciplinary measures. One teacher, who now spoke under condition of anonymity, revealed, "We all suspected something was off, but nobody wanted to lose their job. He was charming to the higher ups." By midweek, whistleblowers came forward. A former student, now an adult working as a nurse, posted on Facebook, "When I was in his class in 2008, I watched him yank a student's ear until she cried." Another wrote about being forced to scrub floors until she fainted. As each testimony appeared, the public horror grew. Even school board members, once loyal to Mr. Hale's administrative record of improved test scores, felt betrayed. The narrative shifted from a single violent incident to systemic abuse of power spanning decades.
Chapter 6.
Empowered by the public outcry, Crestwood High students organized a peaceful protest for the following Monday. Flyers circulated, "Stand up for Emily, stand against violence." On the day of the protest, hundreds of students congregated on the front lawn, holding signs that read, "Our school, our safety," and "No fear, no shame." The air was electric, with chants echoing off the brick walls. Administrators, under pressure from district officials, handed out flyers stating that the protest was allowed as long as it remained peaceful and off school property. Students complied, marching to the nearby town square. That afternoon, an assembly was called in the auditorium. Students and parents packed the seats. Emily, now wearing a knitted cap to conceal her wounds, took the stage. She spoke in a measured voice. "I never expected to wake up one morning and have my life changed by a meme. But this isn't just about me. It's about every student who has ever felt powerless. It's about holding those in authority accountable. We deserve respect, not violence." The room erupted in applause, tears, and chants of, "Emily! Emily!" Meanwhile, petitions circulated demanding immediate changes: removal of Principal Hale, mandatory training on student rights, establishment of an independent oversight committee for disciplinary actions, and therapy sessions for affected students. Local businesses offered to sponsor scholarships in Emily's name. Social media served as a rallying point. Tash Crestwood Students Unite began trending regionally. National education advocacy groups reached out to offer resources and legal support. Even beyond Crestwood, students in other districts texted videos urging solidarity. Chapter 8: Investigation and Fallout. District officials held a special board meeting to address the crisis. Televised coverage captured board members in heated debate. Some argued that the district had failed to properly vet Mr. Hale's past. Others questioned whether school resources should focus on student mental health or security cameras rather than administrative oversight. In an emotional testimony, a teacher who had previously reported Mr. Hale's violence appealed to the board. "We tried to speak up, but we were silenced. This must never happen again." By the end of the week, Principal Robert Hale was placed on administrative leave pending a formal investigation. The school board appointed an interim principal, Ms. Patricia Gonzalez, known for her commitment to restorative justice. Under her leadership, Crestwood High installed additional security cameras and revised its code of conduct to explicitly ban corporal punishment. An external law firm was hired to investigate each abuse allegation dating back 2 decades. Early findings indicated that at least 5 students had suffered physical harm at his hands that went unreported or were covered up. State and federal Child Protective Services opened parallel inquiries. Mr. Hale's teaching license was suspended. His home was searched for evidence. Authorities seized computers and phones. Social workers contacted former students offering counseling and collecting sworn affidavits. The local district attorney announced that if criminal charges were warranted, they would be pursued to the fullest extent. Meanwhile, counseling centers reported a surge in calls from Crestwood students seeking confidentiality as they shared their own traumatic experiences. Public opinion shifted from outrage to systemic reflection. Parent-teacher associations in neighboring districts convened emergency meetings on how to prevent similar abuses. The state legislature introduced a bill to mandate annual reviews of principal behavior by independent committees. Social media campaigns raised funds for students who had no home or had been forced into counseling by school administrators. Through it all, Emily's bravery inspired a movement. A single video captured by a peer had changed the culture of a school district forever. Chapter 9: Justice and Reform. Months passed as legal proceedings wound their way through the courts. In a criminal trial that began in late fall, multiple students testified under oath about their encounters with Mr. Hale. One student broke down on the stand, recounting how he had thrown a water bottle at a freshman and shoved her into lockers. Another testified that Mr. Hale grabbed his collar cloth so tightly that he feared for his breathing. The prosecution painted a picture of a man who viewed fear as a tool of discipline, a man who believed his power was absolute. On the defense side, Mr. Hale's attorneys argued that he had been under tremendous pressure to maintain test scores, citing budget cuts and increased accountability standards. They tried to portray his actions as isolated incidents of poor judgment, not a pattern of abuse. But when Emily's video was replayed in court, gasps echoed through the gallery. 12 jurors deliberated for 2 days before returning a unanimous verdict: guilty on multiple counts of assault and battery, false imprisonment, and cruelty to a minor. Sentencing followed shortly after: 5 years in state prison and a permanent revocation of his teaching license. School district officials issued an official apology to Emily and all affected students. A fund was established to cover medical expenses and counseling for those harmed by Mr. Hale. The new principal, Ms. Gonzalez, introduced regular safety circles where students and faculty could speak freely about concerns without fear of reprisal. A student-led committee drafted a charter requiring any complaints against staff to be handled by an external watchdog group. In celebratory ceremonies, Emily was awarded a scholarship to a private university renowned for its human rights program. Yet even as justice was served, some wounds remained. Many alumni wrote to share their own stories, revealing that the damage caused by fear and intimidation had seeped into their adult lives: anxiety, mistrust of authority, and interrupted education. Crestwood High offered ongoing free counseling and set up a memorial wall to honor resilience. It was a bittersweet reminder that healing takes time and that accountability, while necessary, cannot erase trauma. Chapter 10: Lessons Learned and Moving Forward. 1 year after that fateful Wednesday, a special assembly was held to mark the anniversary. The auditorium was adorned with a banner reading, "From Darkness to Light, Embracing Respect and Safety." Emily, now sporting a confident haircut, stepped onto the stage. She looked out at her peers, many of whom she did not recognize because graduation ceremonies and transfers had changed the student body drastically. She spoke with calm conviction. "What happened to me could have happened to any one of us. We learned that authority unchecked can become a weapon, but we also learned that solidarity can become a shield. We must speak up when we see injustice." She paused, letting the words sink in. This school is no longer a place where a single person's fear rules the rest. We have changed policies, installed safety measures, and given every student a voice. But our work doesn't stop here. The real test is how we treat each other when the cameras are off and the hashtags fade. Students and faculty rose to their feet, cheering as she stepped down. In the weeks that followed, other school districts cited Crestwood's reforms as a model. Educational journals published articles analyzing the case, noting how the combination of citizen journalism, social media, and community activism overcame years of institutional silence. Mental health professionals praised the emphasis on free speech and restorative justice. Government bodies considered new legislation to replicate these measures across the state. Meanwhile, Emily began internship interviews at human rights organizations. She co-authored an op-ed in a national newspaper about student empowerment, declaring, "We cannot remain silent when those with power cross the line." She wrote letters to schools across the country, offering to speak at assemblies and share her experience, reminding them that a single moment can alter a life, but also that one voice can spark a movement. Crestwood High continues to rebuild its reputation. A scholarship in Mr. Count Hale's name was retasked. A scholarship now funds aspiring educators who commit to nonviolent discipline and student advocacy. The school hosts an annual Speak Truth event where students write anonymous stories about any injustices they've witnessed. Through this, they keep the memory of what happened alive, ensuring it never happens again. In retrospective news segments and festival panels, Emily's video is still shown, sometimes to new audiences, sometimes to elderly viewers who marvel at how fast social media can hold a powerful figure accountable. Her hair has grown back. Her wounds have mostly healed. Yet none of it would matter if it weren't for the courage of a few. Jacob's shaky camera hand, Alicia's split-second decision to livestream, and the countless students who refused to look away. It's a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. In a world where we constantly balance respect for authority against the need to call out wrongdoing, the Crestwood incident reminds us that when power is misused, it's up to us, students, teachers, parents, and neighbors, to shine a light. In the end, it wasn't just Emily who found her voice. It was an entire community that refused to be silenced. And that, more than any disciplinary reform or legal conviction, may be the greatest victory of all.